I'm going to get so much hate for this video, but I have to call it like I see it. I just got through doing a deep dive on the new 2025 Ford F-150, and the very first thing that comes to mind is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So in this video, I'm actually going to go over exactly what I mean by that statement, and I'm also going to cover some of the key differences between the new 24 and the 25 Ford F-150, and we're going to cover some of the things and changes that Ford has snuck into this new F-150. First up, let's talk about some of the key changes for this model year. You've got two new colors, Marsh Gray and Space White. And speaking of Space White, that's not a brand new color for Ford Motor Company, but it is brought back for the 25 model year. Now you also have two deleted colors, where the 24 model year had the avalanche gray and then also had darkened bronze. Those two options are now gone for 2025. The STX now has a new lower equipment group. In fact, all of the different trim levels, or most of the different trim levels, do. Let's talk about the STX first. Now, if you don't know what I mean, you have on the F-150, you've got lots of different trim levels. XL, STX, XLT, Lariat, yada, yada, yada. But inside of each one of those trim levels, you have different equipment groups. So on like an STX or an XLT, you could get a 200A equipment group, and then you could get a 201A equipment group. But for 2025, Ford Motor Company is introducing a new lower equipment group from what was previously standard in the 200A equipment group. They are calling this new one for the STX a 200B equipment group. Now, what does that mean? What are you going to be giving up on this new equipment group compared to the last year? So on the new 25 model, if you go with that 200B equipment group, you're going to get 18-inch wheels instead of 20-inch wheels. You're also going to give up fog lights, which was previously standard on all of your STXs. And then you're also giving up the LED cornering lamps as well as zone lighting. But it's not all negative, because the 24 F-150, as I'm equipping it here for comparison's sake, had an MSRP of $52,210, but for 2025, this new lower equipment group gives you an MSRP of starting at $51,025. That's about $1,200 less money than last year. And speaking of less money, if you order your F-150 at Town & Country Ford, we are guaranteeing invoice pricing. All you have to do is give us a call to get your order on the books today at invoice pricing. Let's go back to the STX for just a quick second. You got to keep in mind, not everybody wants all of those options you're going to be giving up, so that might be a win or it might be a loss. I'd like to know in the comments what you think. Now, let's move on to the XLT. Now, well, in previous year model, they had a 301 and a 302A equipment group, and they also had a 303. Now they're going to be giving us a new 300A equipment group, yet again another bottom entry version of the XLT. So what are you going to be getting on this setup versus compared to 301A? Number one, you're going to be getting a manual bench seat. It's cloth. It's pretty much standard. So what you're giving up is the powered option of the XLT. So they're kind of giving you an XLT, but just a little bit less creature comforts that you may or may not care about. You're also going to be giving up step bars. I think they've got a 6-inch, like a chrome or a bright step bar that you're going to be giving up. The handles on the door handles are no longer going to be chrome or chrome-like. It's now going to be black door handles and a black tailgate handle. You're also giving up a chrome exhaust tip. Who cares? I mean, if put a V8 on it and put some exhaust on there anyway, right? You're also going to be getting a different grill, and this one would probably cause a divorce in my family, but that's a dual zone air conditioner unit. My wife is always hot and I'm always freezing, or vice versa. It's never the same. So just know that if you go with that 300A equipment, that new entry version, you're going to be giving up the ability to dual control it, meaning that everybody's going to be on that same temperature. But this one is a big one for 2025. Ford Motor Company is getting rid of the 360-degree camera in the XLTs, the 300A and the 301A. The Pro Trailer Backup Assist is also gone. Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, that's also gone. That was previously standard equipment on all of your XLTs, and now you have to get a 302 or a 303A to get those options that I just mentioned. Now let's talk about the F-150 Lariat, now starting with the 500A equipment group, whereas previously it started with the 501. But what's important is you can no longer get an F-150 Lariat with leather seats. Instead, they all come standard with ActiveX material. And if you don't know what that is a vegan alternative to leather. Now, I am not one of those like vegan people because I think animals taste fantastic. But I will say that the ActiveX, I like it because you would never know it wasn't leather. If I didn't tell you, or if I didn't call it out to you, you would never know that this is not leather seats. So it's not like I'm trying to, save the animals or anything like that. It's a good material. It seems like it actually wears a little bit better than a normal leather does. But if you do want leather, you have to step up to a King Ranch or a Platinum to get authentic, real leather seats. So you'll notice a difference between those two, but ActiveX is a great material. Now, the 500A equipment group means you're also going to be giving up the 20-inch PVD wheels, and you're also going to be giving up that power sliding rear window, as well as that 6-inch chrome-like step bar to get in and out of the vehicle. Now, let's talk about Bluecruise, now that we've kind of talked about the different trim levels, and I want to talk about packages and some of the things that they're changing here. And don't worry, I'm getting to the point where Ford has royally messed up. That's coming a little bit later in the video, but you got to make it all the way through it for me. All right. Bluecruise. In the previous year, that was a prepaid package where you could buy 3 years worth of Bluecruise for $2,100. Now Ford is changing that to where you can buy 1 year for $495. And you might be saying like, what? That actually works out in your benefit if you like this particular package, which I highly recommend you buy the Bluecruise package. That's one of the things I love on my wife's Expedition Platinum. We love Bluecruise. But that basically means Ford is reducing the overall cost to have Bluecruise on a monthly basis. It's going from $58 a month on average down to $41 by changing that packaging around. So it's nice to see Ford is reducing the cost of that Bluecruise because, quite frankly, it's a fantastic technology. More people need to be trying it out. All right, so another couple of new options and packages and things like that. Tailgate step with the work surface. That is now going to be optional on the XL as a standalone option. That'll cost you about $445. Now, what I didn't even realize until I was looking through prepping for this video is that you can even get that in a 2024 model because it was a part of the bed utility package, and the bed utility package wasn't available on the XL trucks. So it's nice that Ford is giving that as an a la carte option, especially for those fleet customers that still need to get in and out of the bed of their truck. So it sounds like Ford's actually listening to their consumers. So once again, I want to give you credit where credit's due because credit's about to not come due and I get a little bit later in this video. Next up, let's talk about the tow haul package. Now you can actually get the tow haul package with the 5.0 on the XL trim level. As crazy as this sounds, that wasn't a combination that was previously available on the 24 model year. And I want to talk about navigation for a second. They've gotten rid of the navigation system for the XL, STX, and the 300A and 301A XLTs. I don't think that's that big of a deal because thankfully Ford Motor Company has still got the wireless Apple CarPlay and the wireless Android Auto, and quite frankly, that's what I use. I use Waze on my phone all the time and it's casted through the Apple CarPlay. And I would much rather have that option than what GM has done in the past where they got rid of Apple CarPlay support on a lot of different vehicles. Or maybe it was the wireless Apple CarPlay support. But either way, I think Ford is doing the right thing and diving down into the technology that allows you to cast your phone onto the screen. All right, now we are here. This is the reason that I felt like this video was necessary to make. So even Jim Farley himself made a post a couple of years ago about a cool feature that Ford is calling their Security Code keyless entry. And it works like this. You can lock your phone in your car. You can lock your keys in your car. You can lock all your valuables in your car. And you hit the buttons on the combination and it locks the vehicle up. And then when you're done with your beach day, you can walk back up to the car, type in your code, and it unlocks the vehicle. This was something that was debuted 40 years ago. 40 years ago. People don't realize it's been around that long. And quite frankly, in my opinion, I think this is a key differentiator between a Ford and a Chevy and a Ram. Most of my customers love this option. But for 2025, Ford Motor Company is no longer allowing security code as an option on the 25 F-150. Now, thankfully, they're at least giving it to us as a dealer installed option, but they're going to charge you $455 for the opportunity to do that. And keep in mind that if you forget to select that as an option, it's probably going to cost you $500 or $600 to have someone install it after the fact. Now, why am I so upset about this? Because Ford is technically giving you an option to add it after the fact. The reason that I'm so passionate about this is because it probably cost Ford $10 for the part to install, because it actually does replace the entire B-pillar and it's hardwired into the vehicle. So I'm just going to average and say it's probably 10 or 15 bucks per truck. Let's just call it 10. And okay, so they're going to save 10 bucks per truck, but turn around and charge customers $455. To me, it's the advocate of the consumer is the reason I'm kind of getting upset here. Even though technically TC Customs, which is our custom shop, is going to be doing a lot of these security code keyless entries, I'm actually, personally, financially not that upset about it. But as an advocate to the consumer, I just think that it's just not that good of a deal for the customer. Now, I will also say that, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, now I remember what I was going to say. You got to look at the math on Ford's end. So let's round up a little bit and let's say that Ford Motor Company is selling 1 million vehicles that they are no longer offering security code to. And by the way, that number's probably close to right. 1 million vehicles, because they removed it from the Bronco Sport, they've removed it from the Explorer, and now the F-150. And the F-150 alone is good for 750,000 vehicles per year. So let's just use nice round numbers and let's just call it 1 million vehicles. And it saves them 10 bucks a truck. That's $10 million a year Ford Motor Company is going to save by taking the security code keyless entry off of every vehicle and shifting it over as a dealer installed option, a DIO. And so while I'm also kind of pissed about it, I also understand the business side of it, and I can't really be mad at Ford while I'm over here making a video that says I'm mad at Ford. So please keep in mind that Ford, I know you guys watch our videos, and please take this with a grain of salt and just use this for, I guess, for 2026. Please give us this as standard equipment across the board because our customers love it. Oh, and one last thing. The good news is that at least Ford is still giving you the Ford Pass Connect on every single vehicle. So all I have to do is come in here and open up my Ford Pass app on my phone. And yeah, I can actually see my wife's vehicle right here. I can unlock it, lock it, remote start it, find out where it's at, the whole nine. I can see that my wife actually has 258 miles till empty. Usually she, gets it down to about 5 or 10 miles till empty. But it is nice that Ford is giving you that option to remotely access the vehicle from the phone. So I'm trying to be positive, at the same time also calling a spade a spade. I just know that some people want to lock their phone as well as their keys inside the vehicle, and some people just don't want to use the Ford Pass app, which is kind of crazy because I love it. I think it works out really, really well, and I've had it on my vehicle, really all my vehicles, since Ford has come out with it. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the changes, the updates that Ford Motor Company is making on these vehicles? And don't forget, order your F-150 at Invoice Pricing. The phone number is right there on the screen. Give us a call if you want that guaranteed invoice pricing. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.